Hey everybody, welcome back to another video on the channel, Mr. Loons, and today I'm doing Game Week 27 predictions of the Barclays Premier League. And we're going to be starting off on the 11th of March. It's Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium facing Liverpool. And I'm going 3-1 to Liverpool. To be honest, Liverpool, what a game. Winning 7-0 against Manchester United. Haven't lost in the last 5 games in the Premier League. They're doing amazing. They're currently in 5th, challenging for Champions League. And Bournemouth are bottom of the table. They did alright against Arsenal, nearly getting a point. But they still lost, and they're at bottom of the table. Liverpool, in my opinion, are back, playing fantastic. So Liverpool win this. Moving on to the next game, it's Leeds United at Ellen Road facing Brighton and Hove Albion. I'm going 1-1. I seem to always predict 1-1 results with Brighton, even though I predicted 1-1 with West Ham and Brighton, and it was 4-0 to Brighton. The reason why I'm going 1-1 and that'll Brighton win, which is probably obvious for Brighton to win this because they're on fantastic form, playing way better than Leeds, because Leeds are at Ellen Road and they can really surprise some teams sometimes. And they're back, they managed to get a win, which they haven't for a while. They obviously did lose against Chelsea, but now they're at Ellen Road here, I think they can do something at Ellen Road, especially with new management, and I think the club's getting a bit refreshed. I think Brighton may dominate. Brighton, in my opinion, have a very high chance of winning this over Leeds. If there was going to be a winner, it would be Brighton. But I'm backing up Leeds because they're in a relegation battle. They really need the points, and the new manager's here, refreshing things up. So I'm going for 1-1. Moving on to the next game, it's Everton at Goodison Park against Brentford, and I'm predicting this 1-1. Everton got a good away draw against Nottingham Forest, 2-2. Sean Dyche, obviously new manager. He's been managing the team very nicely for Everton, and Brentford have got the most draws in the Premier League. Everton drew last game. They're at Goodison Park. They've done some great results since Sean Dyche has been in, but I don't see Brentford losing to Everton, who are in the relegation zone, and Brentford have drew 11 times this season, and it just looks like a draw. So 1-1. Moving on to the next game, it's Leicester City at King Power Stadium against Chelsea. 1-0 to Chelsea. Chelsea are performing really well, getting a 2-0 win against Borussia Dortmund, 2-1 on aggregate, which is fantastic. Dominating Leeds United 1-0. The defence is superb, and maybe things are starting to string together. And we're against Leicester, who've lost the last 3 games. You know, this should be quite a simple win for Chelsea, especially after Leicester lost to last place, Southampton. But Chelsea also lost 1-0 against Southampton in recent time. But I think Chelsea are going to pick up a lot of points. And away against Leicester, I mean, Leicester had 0 shots on target. It was pretty poor. I think Chelsea are back. I think all the money's starting to come together, and they're going to get 3 points. Moving on to the next game, Tottenham Hotspur at their home stadium facing Nottingham Forest. And Nottingham Forest have one of the worst away records. And I'm predicting this 2-0 to Spurs. I think Spurs are definitely the favourites. Home advantage will really come in here, especially Nottingham Forest playing terrible away. And Tottenham obviously did get a loss against Wolves, but I think they'll recover at home here and they'll be able to get a simple 2-0 win against the Forests. Moving on to the next game, it's at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace are facing Manchester City, and I'm going 3-1 to Man City. I was a Crystal Palace 10 men. They lost 1-0 to Aston Villa, haven't won for the last 7-8 games. They seem to be drawing a lot, and they lost against Aston Villa, which isn't good enough. And at home against Man City, I think they might be able to get a goal, because there was an offside goal in that Aston Villa game, but they had 3 shots, 0 on target. They had pretty much like 1 or 2 threatening attacks, but it wasn't good enough. And going against Man City, if you can't beat Aston Villa, then I don't think you're going to beat Man City. Man City, pretty much a walk in the park. Moving on to the next game, it is actually a whole new day. It's the 12th of March. It's Manchester United at Old Trafford against Southampton. Obviously, Man United losing 7-0 against Liverpool was massive, but I think they're going to recover. They're going to be fuming. But at Old Trafford now, at home, they're going to recover and they're going to be able to get a 2-1 win against Southampton. Even though Southampton did beat Chelsea and recently beat Leicester, I think Man United have to come to their senses, and they're going to be able to get quite an easy win. But I think it won't be easy for Man United. Southampton will definitely give it their all. Moving on to the next game, it's West Ham at their home stadium against Aston Villa, and I'm predicting this 1-1. Aston Villa, obviously a good win against Crystal Palace, one that they really needed. And I don't think West Ham are going down. In recent form, they've been playing very well, other than the 4-0 loss against Brighton, which is massive. But now they're at home, going to be able to get a point against Aston Villa. Moving on to the next game, Fulham at Craven Cottage against Arsenal. 2-1 to Arsenal. Arsenal are definitely the favourites. They're top of the league. Fulham did lose against Brentford 3-2. They did play decently well in that game. It was quite a close game. And they're playing very well overall, Fulham. But going against Arsenal, top of the league, I think it's going to be very hard. It could be a draw, because they're at Craven Cottage, and they're also playing very well, Fulham. But Arsenal are the favourites at top of the league, and they've won the last 4 games. It's looking like an Arsenal win here. Moving on to the next game, it's my favourite club, Newcastle United, at St James's Park, facing Wolverhampton Wanderers. And I'm predicting this, a low-scoring 1-0 win to Newcastle United. Now, Newcastle haven't won for a while. I think their last 5 or 6 games they haven't won for. They lost in the Carabao Cup final, but now they're at home. They haven't won for a while. Newcastle are going to be wanting to pick 3 points at their home stadium against Wolves, who are in a relegation battle. But Wolves also did win against Spurs, so I could see a draw here. But Newcastle, they're in 6th and they haven't won for a while, so a win is definitely coming for Newcastle. Before I do wrap up today's video, I'm going to go through what happened last week. Last week, there was actually 12 games, and I've got a total of 5 points out of a possible 24 points. Again, I'm doing terrible at these predictions. And overall, I'm on 140 points out of 504 points this season. Hopefully you can like and subscribe, and always remember to turn on notifications to miss one of my fantastic YouTube videos. I will see you next time. Toodle pip now.